Hello, and welcome to episode number 280 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. We are here, the third SummerSlam of the series. Finally here, Boston. We're brewing something special tonight. We've got the last few previous night ones here. We've come a long way from James Storm versus Rob Gronkowski. We really do. We really have come a long way from there. Liv, she's on tomorrow night, you know. Kyrie, big match tonight, you know. It's fun to just look at where we've come. This is 2 years ago, both in-game and I think roughly IRL. But anyway, Drunk Big Show, Wet Robert Stone. Last year, the birth of the Tribal Chief. This year, night one consists of Big E and Edge in the main event. Seth Rollins versus Carmelo Hayes, Kairi Sane versus Dakota Kai, Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan, Pat McAfee versus Chad Gable, Trish Stratus versus Sasha Banks, Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, Mustafa Ali versus Angel Garza for the US title, and a whole lot more. So, I'm ready. Without any more further ado, let's jump straight into the show. It's like ages after real SummerSlam, but you know, real SummerSlam was early this year, and it's still hot as fuck, so it still feels like SummerSlam season, baby. Anyway, we start off on the pre-show. It's a tag team contest between the Limit Breakers, I guess they're calling themselves now, Bron Breakker and Keith Lee, against the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso, in a sort of backseat feud to the main WWE Championship feud, which will be Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns tomorrow night. But in the end, it is the Limit Breakers, Bron Breakker and Keith Lee, who defeat Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu. Keith Lee pins Jimmy with a power slam, apparently. Big Bang Catastrophe. And a big pre-show victory. A SummerSlam debut victory for Bron Breakker. And Keith Lee last year, he lost the title to Drew McIntyre at Wembley. And now he's getting a big win this year, at the expense of last year's main eventer, Jimmy Uso. 82 for Keith Lee, 80 for Bron Breakker, 76 for Jacob Fatu, and a 70 for Jimmy. That's a fine pre-show match, I guess. Opening intro video. As of the time I'm recording this, I don't know if I'm gonna make one, but I probably will because of my OCD, and it will annoy me if this SummerSlam doesn't have one after the last two SummerSlams did. So I probably will have. You probably will have seen it already. And just going over tonight's biggest matches, you know. Big E, Edge, Kyrie, Dakota, Sasha, Trish, Brock, Bryan. Then we get into the first match of the evening. Yeah, based on the everything going on here. Holy shit, I've just seen the individual ratings. Based on a lot of stuff here, I thought this wouldn't be as good as it could have been. But it's fine. We move. The match that was made official just 24 hours ago. Seth Rollins versus Carmelo Hayes for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Got Seth Rollins coming out first, burn it down, rocking Boston, some sort of special new ring gear he's got made. Melo comes out. I'll probably have Trick back. Trick is, I think, in the game, like five or so days away from returning. So I may as well just have him here and introduce. I can't book him in segments, but like in real life, I would be able to because it's fine. So he'd do the big super cool, you know, like if you watched whatever the NXT show was where he fought Grayson Waller, he had the big intro video, and it was Carmelo Hayes coming out with his special entrance, and he's gonna wear like he does. He wears shirts. He had Vinci on, like he gets special shirts made for all of his opponents. Something slandering Seth Rollins that he's got made in 24 hours. The match itself though goes 20 minutes, and the finish I have very specific. Seth Rollins is going in. He's doing his thing. Superplex. Smashes Melo down. Into the Falcon Arrow. Plants him. Schoolboy super kick. All the Seth Rollins' greatest hits, you know. Then, bang, he stomps Melo. 1, 2, and then Trick puts his foot on the rope. And Trick's like, hey, about it, referee. There's a foot on the rope here. And Seth's like, you son of a bitch, you motherfucker. And he just glares at Trick, and Trick's like, well, play by the rules, Seth. Come on, buddy, come on. You know how the game works. And Seth, he's livid. He's so fucking pissed off, like, because he has to win this briefcase, you know, because Roman's the champion, and he lost his one opportunity to stop that. So this is his very last hope, is to beat Carmelo Hayes here tonight for the briefcase. So he runs to the outside, he grabs a steel chair, and he starts wailing into Trick. Like, absolutely just fucking... Probably a bad spot for him to take, given he's just getting back from injury, but it's Seth, and it'll be fine. Just wailing into Trick with a steel chair. And then, obviously, he gets back in the ring, but Melo comes flying off the top rope and nails him with the leg drop for the win. I wanted to keep Seth strong, which is why the rating got dampened to an 84. Because I didn't want him to lose too much popularity, because, you know, he needs to have a lot heading into SummerSlam and beyond. But Melo got a 92. He outscored Seth Rollins. Seth was off his game, granted, but maybe Seth didn't like losing. Grow up. But Melo keeps Money in the Bank, and Seth may have just thrown his alarm before to get him again. He's got the all messed up hair. He's like blankly staring ahead, like with head in his hands. That was his last chance. And while it was never officially announced that this is his only chance to take the briefcase off Melo, he can't just keep wrestling him every week until he wins it. Like, that's dumb. So, for all intents and purposes, this was his one shot to get the case off him. And he's fucked it. You know what this is, baby. It's time. Actually serves a fairly grander purpose this year, but we're going for the trio. The greatest trilogy known to man. The R-Truth SummerSlam WrestleMania special big party. This time, though, it doubles up. Titus says it doubles up as his welcoming party to Titus World Records. Now, you know, they got as it's Titus World Records, we've got the live microphone up there, you know. Anybody who fancies themselves an honor and the potential to join the next client of Titus World Records can take to that stage and start singing. But then there's like, oh, them guys are already up there. Obviously, it's J-Flow, you know they're there, already up there. Titus is like, hey, they can't hear him. He has to pull the amp out, and then the microphone starts working. Mackie's like, ah! Smacks them. I actually smacked my microphone there, that's what that noise was. But that's Mackie that makes that noise, she smacks the microphone. Probably over her head to try and see if she can get it working, or whatever. And then Titus is like, this is for Titus World Records tryouts only. And Mackie's like, flips him off and walks off. I think J-Flow might be the only people other than R-Truth to have been a part of every single one of these. 83 rated tag team match. Again, the game says that this is elimination, but it is not. Adam Cole and Ezekiel have absolutely zero chemistry as partners. That's perfectly fine. I don't care. That it's a one-off. They're never going to team again. So, we've got DIY, Buddy Murphy and Dijakovic. Not Elias. God, I got him confused with his brother there for a second. Why would I possibly think that was Elias? Ezekiel and Adam Cole. And Aleister Black and Brody King of the House of Black for the SmackDown tag titles. Go 17-44, and apparently, even according to the game, you know, Cole and Ezekiel are butting heads and aren't getting on the same page. House of Black kind of hesitant to beat up Ezekiel as well, because for some reason they seem to think he is Elias. And that's odd. But Murphy and Dijak, basically, they're running through everyone here, basically. Because they are the, you know, they're the even compared to the House of Black, who have been the dominant champion so far. Buddy Murphy and Dijak have just returned. They're the ones who are like tearing up as like the. I think I had a team name for them, but I've forgotten it. It was something robotic or whatever, next generation or like enhanced or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter right now. What does matter though is Gargano Ciampa, obviously the underdogs here. Gargano fighting from underneath, taking Dijakovic down, meeting in the middle, he goes down, and Ross at the outside. Aleister comes in, that's wiping out both the DIY boys in a nice throwback to all the NXT days. And speaking of NXT, Adam Cole, baby, and Johnny Gargano are the last two left in the ring. And they're like, hey, I remember these guys have wrestled quite a lot, you know. And they exchange strikes and kicks and everything. We get a mini NXT match out of the two. But in the end, Gargano locks in the Gargano escape. And Adam Cole is forced to submit in 17:44. Meaning Your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions are DIY. 71 for Brody King, 87 for Alistair, 64 for Ezekiel, 74 for Adam Cole, 76 for Dijakovic, 87 for Buddy Murphy, 87 for Gargano, and a 71 for Ciampa. But we get the nice wholesome moment after the heartbreak of Seth. I've ripped Seth Rollins' heart out in the opening segment, in the opening match. So we get the nice wholesome moment here, DIY capturing the SmackDown Tag titles. Then, of course, the Street Profits with their cups, their solo cups, are at the backstage party. They're going, Dawkins, you should apply to be a member of Titus World Records. Like, hey, old fam, I know it seems cool and all, it seems lit, fam, as they say, but I don't know if I'll be any good at that, fam. And Ted's like, nonsense, Dawkins. I've heard you on the bus, on the drives through towns, You got an act for this kind of thing. And everyone's like, hey, bros. I'm like, Riddle, what's up? He's like, you were always talking about how when they met people belong to the Street Profits, they want the smoke, bro. And I was just wondering, like, do you want the smoke, bro? And Dawkins like, hey, fam, what you talking about? We don't want the smoke here. And then Ted's like, no, Dawkins, he means... And he whispers in his ear. He's like, pss, pss, pss. And Dawkins is like, oh, no, we're not doing that here, fam. But you knock yourself out, though, fam. And then R-Truth walks up to him and is like, hey, everyone is enjoying the WrestleMania Super Party, huh? And they go, yeah, it's great, Truth. And then all of a sudden, the temperature drops in the room, and a dark light seeps through, as in carrying Cross on the Colt. And he goes, great party you've got going on here, Truth. I'm not booked for SummerSlam either. So I thought I'd stop by, and have a look around. Nothing personal, kid, but it's kind of trash. See you on Raw. And then they walk off. They leave. And then Truth's like, wow, those weird guys. 81. Intercontinental Championship match. Mustafa Ali against Angel Garza. Very personal, very quickly. Ali came back. He was like... Wait, this is actually the first time I've been actually recorded since this happened. But Ali, the real life Mustafa Ali, put a Twitter post out about, like, him in his, like, religious gear and stuff. I was like, oh, I'm tired of marketing myself or whatever. So I feel like he's actually doing this gimmick in real life, which, again, is kind of funny. Like, 2 days after real life Kevin Owens held up a sign at a house show that says, vote for Kevin Owens for Canadian president, Mustafa Ali is also going for that sort of gimmick as well. Anyway, as for the virtual Mustafa Ali, 13-13, he pins Angel Garza with the 054, and we have a new Intercontinental champion. His name is Mustafa Ali. He gets a 75 and a 78 for Angel Garza. Apparently there's a lack of psychology for these two going 13. And apparently he's got a stale gimmick, which he's just changed. Like, not in-game, but, like, headcanon. He's just changed it, which is funny, and a funny note then. Anyway, Ali, if you remember back at the MSG show when he got beat by Joe Gacy, and, like, that was a pretty big pop swing, and that was done by design, because Ali was a star when I booked this match, and I was like, oh, fuck, well, I'm not allowed to put the Midcard title on a star, because of the rule, But him losing to Joe Gacy knocked him down to well-known to the point where I could then have him win this match, which is why that happened. So, big ups, I guess. Because he went up to star, I think, because he went down to well-known in the months he was away. And then he went up to star, like, after the first promo. And I was like, oh, shit. Because he had enough popularity to be a star in the game, but just because he wasn't on telly, I guess he dropped. But anyway, that's all, behind the scenes admin stuff that doesn't matter to the save. What does matter is Mustafa Ali, Intercontinental champion, and actually only a tag team title victory away from a Grand Slam champion right now, because he's been Universal and US champion, which is funny because he still hasn't held a title in real life at all. Hit Row taken to the stage. They're preparing for gang warfare tomorrow night, but there's a party and there's a microphone, they gotta spit some hot bars. And we catch the end of their song, and they're like, thank you, y'all, we're Hit Row. Ain't nobody harder than Top Donna, Adonis, B-Fab. Swerve, we'll see you tomorrow night when we win Gang Warfare. And then Boogs shreds. He's like, that was a great rap, gentlemen. Now allow me to show you true music. And that's rock and roll, Shinsuke. Shinsuke's like, hell yeah, buddy. And then they go to play. And then Swerve's like, sorry to interrupt y'all, but rap royalty has arrived. And Bad Bunny walks in. He's not wrestling on this show, but I still have him under contract, so let's fucking have him appear in this backstage segment for a cheap pop and interactive hit row, because, you know, rap. We then get a quick final training montage from My Wrestling Academia, and I imagine it like Dio, Manny, and Saray finally beat Sensei's like biggest bosses, and Sensei walks up. It's like, oh, we did it. You know, they've all been defeated. I think we're ready for SummerSlam. And then Dio and Manny are like, yeah, we are. And then like Sensei pulls like a smoke ball out of their bag or whatever. It's like, well, let's head to Boston. Slams it on the floor, and like our heroes puff up in like some beam of light or whatever. But then we're back in Boston. Like that was our pre-recorded video. But then back in Boston, the light rises from the ground, and our heroes take to the stage and make their entrance. They're finally going to go 4-on-4 with Joe Gacy and the Helpers. For the fight for the pendant is on the line. I will take a 67, you know, because I think one of these is recognizable. Yeah, Dio, I think, yeah. And then the rest are all unimportant. But, oh, and Aziz as well, because he was in the message in the New America for so long. It's Joe Gacy, Aziz, Wolf Gruber, and Aisling McPhee against the entire My Wrestling Academia. Pendant on the line. And the finish. Dio, I imagine Sensei would normally be fighting Gacy, Dio with Aziz, Gruber with Manny. But then, when they're all down the outside, it's just Dio alone in the ring with all three of them. And maybe Aisling as well, but I imagine she's off with Saray because, you know, women. And Dio's like, I'll fucking take you all on, power of goddamn anime. He starts taking the fight to Aziz. He slams the big man like he's Hogan and slamming Andre. But in the end, he is overwhelmed, and Gacy nails him with that rebound lariat and pins him. And Dio is pinned. And our heroes are defeated. We get our depressing Infinity War ending here. Our heroes have failed. Gacy has got the special powered pendant. He's going to try and use it to make the whole world obey him. And Dio, of all people, is laying in the ring. 57 for Aisling McPhee, 60 for Wolf Gruber, 63 for Aziz, 59 for Joe Gacy, 58 for Saray, 57 for Manny, 74 for Dio, and a 25 for Young Sensei. And yeah, 67 is okay, actually, I guess. But then the reason it was Dio specifically getting pinned is after the match, Gacy and his gang is posing, and Dio starts to get to his feet, and then I imagine they have some sort of trio. I don't want to say triple powerbomb, because you know the Shield did that. But they've got some sort of like 3-on-1 attack that they lay Dio out with, and then Aziz picks the big man on his back and carries him away, as Sensei, Manny, and Saray look on in horror from the outside. So the reason this is happening is Dio is... He made a band in the game, and then he decided he was going to go on tour like a week after the band was formed. And that tour starts in about 2 weeks, but SummerSlam felt like the good place to end Season 1 of My Wrestling Academia. And maybe we're going to get into like Season 1.5, where they're trying to get Dio back or whatever. You know, filler arc. All anime has their filler arc, you know. But Dio has been taken away. This is how we've written him off screen for while he goes to tour. It wouldn't be a summer party without Toxic Attraction, you know. They're, you know, walking around being Toxic Attraction, looking all sexy. And he's like, oh, it's my boy Grayson Waller, you know. Right, ladies? I'm like, hello. And he's like, you know, I'm glad you're here, you know. I'm cheering you on tomorrow night. You're going to become the Liberty Champion, you know. First to be champions, we won't bet on anybody than you, Mandy. And then she's like, thank you. He's like, oh, I suppose you're sticking around to watch me and the Wiz punk out like KSI and Logan Paul, huh? because I'm the real trendy superstar here. You like me better than Logan Paul, didn't you? And then Manny's like, well, no, Logan Paul's kind of based, actually. And well, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm Grayson goddamn Waller. I'm the trendiest. I'm a bit of social media megastar than Logan Paul. What are you saying? And then he's shot in the balls by a tank rocket. And Shotzi's there in a tank. She's like, oh my god, sorry, Grayson Waller. I meant to hit Mandy, you know. Send her a message to let her know that I'm going to be the champion tomorrow night. And Mandy's like, okay, whatever. Enjoy this dumb party. It's pretty bad anyway. Like, let's go find there's a real party happening 2 blocks down. That's where the popular girls are going. That's where we're going. And they leave. And they walk past our street. She's like, is it really that bad, dog? And Shotzi's like, no, it's great, Truth. It's great. She's like, oh, thanks. Thanks, Kathy Cool. Pats her on the head. Walks off. Hype video. First hype video of the show. Paul Heyman, you know, sick of Daniel Bryan being a problem for the bloodline, has called upon an old friend, an old client. The Beast is here. And him and Daniel Bryan are going to go one-on-one. For the first time in nearly 4 years. It was 2018 Survivor Series and they had the that match. But this time Bryan is a face instead of a freshly heel. 88! They just don't... This is fucking bullshit. Like, instead of real life, where Daniel Bryan clicks with everybody, this game is going... He's got shit chemistry with everybody. Like, everybody I put him in the ring with, the game time he doesn't click with them. I'm just going to cheat and give everybody great chemistry with Bryan, because, you know, he's Daniel Bryan. So they don't click at all. Of course, it's not just a little bit of a chemistry knock. It's a massive one. Because why would they have any kind of chemistry whatsoever, you know? But despite that, it still gets an 88, so... And... It's exactly the match that you think it is. It basically is the Survivor Series match, except Bryan is a babyface this time, and he doesn't like low blow him to get back on top. He just fights out from underneath. But in the end, Bryan's not going to beat Brock Lesnar. He's partnered with an F5 and 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar wins. 75 for Bryan, 78 for Brock. I still don't know what Bryan's actually scoring, because most of the time he's always getting fucking dinged for chemistry. And it's fucking annoying. But hey-ho, we move. 75 for Bryan, 78 for Broccoli Lesnar. And yeah, Brock picks up the win over Bryan, obviously. We then cut back to the house party. Chase U have arrived in the building. They're here on, you know, a field trip. It's like, class is a true teachable moment. We're seeing actual live WWE superstars in their natural habitat here at SummerSlam, you know, biggest party of the summer. And this is a true teachable moment for all of you. And he's like, oh my god, it reminds me of those frat parties that I was never old enough to go to. I always wanted to go to one, Mr. Chase. But, like, they would go up to me and they try and sneak me alcohol through the door. But they're like, nah, Thea, you're not old enough. But now it's finally nice to actually be on one and actually in a party. And then Chase is like, did you just say... Never mind. Anyway, this is about what you can learn and how you can teach. Like, look at this guy, for example. And Ezekiel sat there. It says he's a rookie. He's only just debuted here in WWE, but he's already won 2 matches, and he's just staring at like the platform with the microphone where Titus World Records, you know, tryouts are being held. He's like, man, if only my brother Elias was here, he'd love this. He'd love to perform. He'd love to be a part of Titus World Records, but me, I ain't got that musical talent. And Mr. Chase, of course, he's getting proper angry looking at Ezekiel saying that. He's like, what the fuck? What the fuck do you think you're saying? You can do anything you put your mind to. Ezekiel, you think you're Elias? You need to get out of your fucking brother's shadow, you fucking piece of shit. Fuck you. Get out there and fucking perform right now. And he's like, well, I don't really want to. He's like, I said fucking go. And then Ezekiel walks off. And then, obviously, Mr. Chase calms himself down, turns around, and the rest of Chase, you were like, whoa, way to go, Mr. Chase. Here's a segment. Cora's in Gorilla. She's got fancy, I imagine, like, neon green. You know, she's got her hair tied up like Bayley used to have. Title around her shoulder. Some, like, bedazzled jacket or whatever. And she's, like, twiddling her thumbs, waiting for Bayley. Like, checking her fake watch, like, tapping her foot or whatever, just getting impatient. And then Bayley's, like, walks in. She's like, hey. He's like, hey, take the hood off. Let me see it. Does it fit? Bayley's like, yeah, it fits, yeah. And then Cora's like, so we're doing this. And she's like, I guess so. And Cora's like, great. Offers a fist bump out. Bayley sort of just shrugs and bumps fists with Cora. And she's like, awesome. And she's like, let's go kick some ass. Then Cora's theme plays and she goes out first. And then she stops and Bayley's Babyface theme starts playing. Bayley walks out in like bright neon coloured gear that Cora's got her made. Bedazzled jacket. Like a true Babyface. She's still acting like heel Bayley and still looks like heel Bayley. But she's got the theme and the gear and the song and the everything. Because Cora's sort of like getting her in the zone, I guess. Ahead of this triple threat tag team match. 80. Which I expected because only 2 of these women are actually scoring good because Utami and Shida got dinged for bad chemistry. Which I knew going in, it's fine. But it's fine. It's not something I'm going to have to worry about long term, I guess. Is the easiest way to put it. But 17 minutes 16 this goes. And basically Utami and Shida are carrying it. Bayley and Charlotte, I guess, Jordan and Cora are there to get beat up and get the hot tags in. But the Joshis are dispatched, I guess, by Charlotte at some point. And she turns around and it's Charlotte and Bayley. It's Charlotte in the ring across the ring from Bayley wearing bright colours and everything. It takes you back the years. Everyone's going, hey, Bayley. Ooh. I wanna know. And Bayley has to pretend that he doesn't like it. Because she's still pretending to be angry Bayley. Well, I guess not even pretending. She is still being angry Bayley. And Charlotte and Bayley go to a fight. They start brawling. It's Charlotte and Bayley one-on-one. Bayley goes to hit the Bayley to belly. Nails it. Charlotte kicks out. Bayley's like, well, what the fuck do I do now? And Cora's like, oh, tag me. Bayley's like, well, okay, I guess she's got a plan. And then Cora's like, you stand over there. And Cora goes to nail, the Sasha Banks and Bayley tag team move. Like, backstabber into Bayley to belly. She's getting ready to do a backstabber. But as she goes up for the backstabber, Charlotte tosses her over her shoulder, takes her down, boots Bayley, spears Cora. And then Charlotte nails natural selection on Cora Jade, who is of course legal. 1, 2, 3. Charlotte and Jordan win the belts back. And after just 5 days, Cora Jade and Bayley's reign is over. Just like that. 83 for Bayley, 59 for Cora, 62 for Shida, 64 for Utami, 64 for Jordan, and 85 for Charlotte. Charlotte Flair and Jordan, 2-time women's tag team champions. Cora Jade defeated, bested here. And Bayley, of course, outside the ring, shaking her head. Like, fuck, god damn it. Cora getting to her feet slowly, and sort of looking at Bayley going, I'm sorry. Bayley's like, it's okay. Bayley actually brings her in for a hug, starts patting her on the shoulder as we get the pop. Be like, yeah, the babyface pop, like, good effort, girls. And then Cora's like, okay, great, let's go. And then Bayley yanks her by the ponytail, slams her down on the floor. Boo. Starts punching her. Ground and pound, starts attacking her, goes outside, gets a steel chair, wailing into Cora with a steel chair. It's like, you fucking just whack. And then she stops. Like, once Cora's completely out cold, the referees have come out to try and get Bayley off. And Bayley's like, no, I'll stop. And she just takes the chair that she just battered Cora with. And, like, pulls the seat out and sits on it. And just sits there looking at Cora. And eventually Cora comes to. She, like, as she starts to get into her feet, she, like, grabs onto Bayley's leg as she starts to pull herself up. And then she sort of gets to her knees and looks at Bayley. He's like, why? And Bayley's like, come on. Like, shoves her, like, pulls her up aggressively and, like, shoves her across the ring, like, go, leave. And Cora keeps looking back, like, what the fuck's going on here? Bayley's like, I said go. And Cora obviously obliges, and Bayley follows, and they leave together. After Bayley just beat the fuck out of Cora with a steel chair. We then come back to the Titus Worldwide House Party. And I was like, great news, Truth. Titus World Records is looking to expand, and Slim Shanky, he's not even going to be our biggest client anymore. Truth's like, oh, what do you mean by that, dog? He's a pretty tall guy. Why have you got like the great Khali? And Shanky walks in, he's got like a plate full of hot dogs. He's like, I can eat all of these because I'm so big. And then Truth's like, oh, here's our new guy right now. This giant of a man. Into frame walks Malcolm Bivens. And then Truth looks at him, he's like, dog, he's tiny. And Bivens like, excuse me, what did you say to me? And then Truth Parker's like, oh, no, not him. Him. And he points behind Bivens, and obviously Truth looks up, and Omasa stood there. And he's like, oh, that is a giant man. And Tosh just almost just menacingly walks up and just grabs a hot dog off Shanky's plate and aggressively just eats it in one bite and walks off. And Truth's like, well, he seems nice, dog. Then we go from that, and we see Cora like getting like she's just been shoved. She's like stumbling across the hallway, and then Bayley like pins her up against the wall. And Cora's like, "What is this? What are you doing? Leave me alone!" She's like, "Shush!" Slaps her around the face, rips out Cora's headband. Like she's still got her hair tied out like Bayley, obviously. Rips out her headband, slams it on the floor, shoves Cora again, but Bayley's not looking at where she shoved her, and she accidentally bumps into Dakota. Dakota's like, do you mind watching where you're going? And then Cora's like, sorry. And Dakota's like, yeah, you better be. Sort of like nods her head at Bayley as she walks past. And Bayley's like, what was that? And Cora's like, what are you doing? Leave me alone. She's like, no. Like, look, against my better judgment, I do like you, and I do think that you've got potential here. But as we just learnt, doing things your way, the way that you think I used to do things, that doesn't work. So if you want to make it here, you'll listen to me. That stays in the past, and we do things my way. Understood? And Cora like sort of sheepishly tries to look away and sort of like tries to scoot away. Bayley says, am I understood? And Cora's like, yes, Bayley. And she's like, good. Now get in the locker room. Like sort of pushes her in, and very, very dark turn this has taken. Speaking of women's titles, though, Dakota was on her way out to the ring because we got a women's tag team, a SmackDown Women's Championship match up next. The Queen's Crown champion Kairi Sane taking on Dakota Kai here in Boston. 88 rated match. Both women have gimmicks that are getting stale. Yay! Awesome. But we get 15 minutes of hard-hitting women's action, you know. Kairi's got those back fists, Dakota's got her kicks, you know. Both just hitting each other really hard. And in the end, Kairi Sane nails the insane elbow. 1, 2, 3, and new SmackDown Women's Champion. After 2 years of being second best, 2 years of just being Io's friend, Io's understudy, Io's Robin, Kairi's number one. Kairi's her own woman. She's SmackDown Women's Champion. A belt Io's actually never held. She was the Raw Women's Champion, not the SmackDown Women's Champion. And almost 1 year to the day where Io lost the Raw Women's title. 89 for Kairi, 70 for Dakota. So there you go. That's why the title change happened. They apparently both have stale gimmicks. Whatever. They're both going in, well, not really different directions because they're still kind of going to be the same people, but they have plans beyond, is what I'm saying. And of course, guess who's backstage at the party? Crypto Corbin's on his phone checking his stock prices. His market value is going up, baby. And Neo from Unpunchable Niece is next to him, and he's like, hey guys. He gets onto the microphone. He's like, I just wanted to let you all know, if you're all worried about, you know, the future of this, you want to be super rich like me in the future of the world, get on here right now. So you look at this, my market price is really taking a big hit, and for the better, you know. My lazy ape, whoa, $2 million for a picture, you know. I'm rolling in money. And then from off, I hear someone say, shut up! And Oni walks in. It's like, no one cares about your goddamn ape. And Corbin's like, alright, buddy. It's like, now you get off that stage or I'm going to kick your ass. And Corbin's like, whoa. Okay, well, I've got a title to defend. I don't know who against who. Hopefully it's not you. But I'll be back tomorrow. I'll provide an update on my market value. Pat McAfee's entrance. He's got a fucking Seven Nation Army blares. Like, I'm not giving him the rip-off one. He's getting actual Seven Nation Army. Ahead of his match with Chad Gable. Did not have a clue how this was going to go. 77 rating it gets. Pat McAfee, super over here in Boston. In his first wrestling match. We do all the Pat McAfee, impressive first match spots. The backflip off the top rope. The leap onto the top rope. The big dive off the top rope onto all of the Alpha Academy on the outside. And then Gable goes for a Chaos Theory in the corner. But Pat McAfee turns that into a roll-up of his own and scores the 1-2-3 and steals the win over wrestling expert Chad Gable. In a 77. 58 for Pat McAfee, 78 for Chad Gable. Yeah, banger, if I do say so myself, here in Boston. Speaking of Boston, hometown girl, Sasha Banks, against Trish Stratus. Sasha gets special, fireworks, probably the big limo entrance with the security, really building her part in her hometown. We get Indy in there, doing the old Queen Sasha shtick, introducing her with all her accolades and how great she is and shit like that. And then Trish comes out. Probably still a decent reaction, but, probably a couple people would be booing her because they want Sasha to win in her hometown. Oh, 85. Trish Stratus was exhausted, but Sasha managed to carry her to a banger. That's good. 16-21. I probably haven't even covered this one up because, it's obvious who's winning here. Sasha beats Trish by the bank statement. 93 for Sasha, 65 for Trish. And that is what we call a success. Because, I did have original SummerSlam plans for Sasha that didn't involve Trish at all. But one of the three big disappearances from my women's division led to plans changing. So instead I just brought Trish in. I'm like, yeah, we'll do Sasha versus Trish. That sounds fun. It's like the dream match everyone wants. And now Sasha Banks can gloat. She retired Mickie James at WrestleMania, and while not official, the good implication would be that this would be Trish's last match. So, and even if it isn't, Sasha would claim it is until proven wrong. So, she's retired Trish and Mickie now. You go, girl. Yes, queen. Slay. Yes, I know, she's not going to be booked much more at all. Back to R-Truth's party, and everyone's leaving, because we're nearly at the end of the show. Because that was a great time, dog. Back here, same time, same place tomorrow. And Ty's like, I've got a whole lineup, Try out to really looking good tomorrow. They're looking stacked. And Truth's like, that's great, dog. Like, have you seen anyone you like so far? Like, Titus World Records needs to take into account everybody. They need to really take a think about things. Anyway, I'll see you later, Truth. Come on, Shanky. Shanky leaves, and Truth's just in there by himself, just guess I'll clean up then. And he, starts putting cups in the bin and shit. And he turns around, he's pinned up against the wall by Karrion Kross. And the Cross Cult. He looks down at the bell, he goes, kid, I could take that title from you right now. But I'm not going to do that. I like to see the fear in your eyes right now. Knowing that I could end you right this second. With a snap of the neck. You'd be on the floor in pain, barely alive. But I'm coming to take my Carnage title back. And if you and those two idiots think you can beat me in my cult, you better guess again, kid. Because no one can beat us. Nothing personal. And then they all walk off, and Truth's like, oh my... maybe for the first time, somebody actually shows a little bit of fear towards the Karrion Kross cult. Main event time. Big E and Edge for the World Heavy. This is the first of two Edge matches. He's in the tag team match later on, or tomorrow night, against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. But the Grand Jury have made a lot of enemies. They're enemies with Asuka because of Julia turning. They're enemies with Bianca Belair their enemies with all of the New Day, Drew, Sheamus, all of these people. But it's just Edge and Big E one-on-one tonight. In an 88. I will take that. That's going to be fun, because I've got a celebrity, because Bad Bunny was on the show, so I bought an A-list celeb and a special set and shit. So the show should still do really good. And 88's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. And as you can imagine, grand jury shenanigans ensue. A ref bump. Randy, Priest, Ivar, Eric come out. And New Day come out to try and even the odds. Kofi does a big trust dive on all 4 of the other grand jury members. Woods tries to help fight him off, but Randy and Priest double up on him. And then the numbers are still against them. They're gonna fucking slam one of the New Day boys through the table. Maybe even Big E himself. Or Big E's forced to the outside to try and fight off the rest of the boy. He tosses Eric over his shoulder belly to belly. Tosses Ivar belly to belly. Turns around. Drop with an RKO. And Big E's out cold on the outside. Randy rolls him back into the ring. He's out cold. And Edge is in the corner, prying him up for a spear. When, bang, out of nowhere, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus run to ringside. Claymore to Randy. Bro kick to Damian Priest. And then the other New Day boys fight off the Vikings. And it's all mayhem around ringside as the grand jury's endless assaults of people are coming back to bite Edge on the arse. He sort of gets distracted. He's like, what the fuck's going on? Then he charges at Big E with a spear. Big E scoops him up. He scoops up the running Edge. Big ending plants. The referee finally crawls back into the ring. 1, 2, 3, slow count. And Big E retains the World Heavyweight Championship in an 88 rated match. 85 for Edge, 78 for Big E. And the main event of SummerSlam Night 1 goes off the air. The New Day boys run in, they're like, oh yeah, you fucking did it, E. That's so fucking sick. You just main evented SummerSlam and you won and you kept the World Heavyweight Championship against Edge of all people. Big E's like, yeah, that's so cool, my boys. And then Drew and Sheamus really come in, they're like, hey, good job, fella. And they bump fists with Big E. And then Kofi and Woods leave, and then Drew and Sheamus are in the ring with Big E. Big E turns around, bang! Sheamus drops him with a bro kick. And Drew he's like, what the hell? What the hell are you doing? And Sheamus just stares down at Big E, and he sort of shoves Drew away. He goes, this is mine, fella. Well, don't you fucking leave me alone, fella. We gotta focus on tomorrow night. And Drew's like, whoa, you just fucking kick. What are you doing? And Sheamus just storms out to the back. And Big E sort of gets up. He looks up at Drew, anger in his eyes, like, you fucking bitch, you knew this was happening. Drew's like, I don't fucking know. And drama to end SummerSlam Night 1. A show which gets us a 97. A very abrupt end, I imagine it, probably with a little bit more time than the one on Dynamite with, Andrade and all them. But that sort of kind of that sudden, they'd probably have the little copyright thing pop in the corner as we think the show's over, and then bang, Sheamus just boots him, and Drew's so confused, and Big E and Kofi and Woods run back into the ring what the fuck, and Sheamus just storms to the back, not confronting anybody about it. But yes, dramatic ending. But we do have 1, 2, 3 new champions. Big E retained, but nobody else did, I believe, tonight. Yeah, because Ali won, DIY won, Kyrie won, and Charlotte and Jordan won. Nice. So that concludes SummerSlam Night 1. We'll be back maybe tomorrow. I assume tomorrow. I assume I wouldn't have uploaded this if I didn't have the next one ready for tomorrow. For SummerSlam Night 2. See you then.